Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop. All the news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's the host.
Welcome to Inside Scoop's Holiday Special. I'm Kimberly Costabile. On federal holidays, our crew gets out of the studio and into the neighborhoods of Northern Virginia. Come with me to Fairfax's historic 29 Diner, where our film crew asked patrons what they know about the major events in our own backyard impacting our nation's history. We're in front of 29 Diner here in Fairfax. It's a historic landmark and the setting of many a Memorial Day festivities. Now in Fairfax, Memorial Day starts being celebrated early on. Now, few people actually know that Memorial Day was started to commemorate the Civil War dead, and so therefore Fairfax has been a center of the commemoration for years. But now it's extended to the time when Rolling Thunder will roll through the neighborhood on the way to celebrate at the DC festivities for veterans. So thank you, and we're going to come in and talk to John Wood here at the diner. John, how old is the diner?
Oh my goodness, the diner opened in July of 1947. So in July of this year we celebrate 70 years here in the city of Fairfax.
And then you were saying that there's some history as to when it opened on September 11th? Reopened?
Yes, ma'am. In 2014, the diner took a little pause. We had to remodel, had to do a lot of work. And in 2014, we recognized and honored the veterans that were part of our remodel and our build by opening on 9/11. So we opened on September 11th at midnight in 2014. We began our giving campaign of feeding veterans last year, and we had so much community support, so many meals paid ahead, that we not only fed 1,117 veterans last year for free, we had so many extra meals, we carried those meals over into July 4th, and we fed fire and police and rescue 456, and the giving that then fed those folks during that time continued to pay it forward. So it has just snowballed from our first meal 9/11 in 2014 to where we are today, trying to give away 3,000 meals to veterans because of the freedoms that they bring to us. So we're honored.
Now, what made you decide to take on a historic diner back then?
What an amazing, mighty mountain the 29 Diner is. 70 years of history. It's a Virginia historic landmark. What better place to celebrate veterans and our freedoms and the police and the fire and the rescue that take care of our great county, and recognize the needy and the poor. In January, I stood with Shelter House, which are domestic violence shelters protecting women and children in domestic violence situations that become homeless. I stood against domestic violence. We've raised $4,077 here in that month of January, and we presented a check with Sheriff Stacy Kincaid, who Sheriff Kincaid has been instrumental in everything that we've done here. She is an amazing, amazing sheriff here in Fairfax County, and we're blessed to have her support in everything we do. So $4,077 in January we raised, and I stood against domestic violence and barbecued for 66 hours straight. So that was one of the things that we did to raise $4,000. Okay, so our pies. So these are our fresh homemade fruit pies. Make them every day here at the diner, and they're delicious. So these 10 were ordered by the Girl Scouts of America. The Girl Scouts will be stopping in. We're going to be feeding about 100 Girl Scouts tonight. We're going to be feeding our dry rub to barbecue, and they ordered 10 of our fruit pies. So they were just fresh baked. They're cooling for their pickup. The Girl Scouts coming what, 5:30? Yep. 5:30 for pickup. So pies head out the door with the Girl Scouts in about 1 hour. So we're We're real blessed with the local community and them coming in and supporting us, allowing us to bake and cook for them. So heading to the Girl Scouts.
So how long have you been going to the diner?
But there was another diner by the Circle that I used to work at back in the 80s. And also this next door to here was Ted Britt Ford, the original Ted Britt Ford, and I worked for Mr. Britt. I knew Mr. Britt and worked there in the summer of '71 I started with him. I came back a few years later while I was going to college. I went to the very first campus of Northern Virginia Community College in Annandale.
So what do you think when do you think Memorial Day started?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Being in the military, I should feel bad about it, so. But I know it was started by a president a while ago, so that's it.
Do you remember servicemen and women? Memorial Day, but I don't know the history of it, no.
Okay.
I don't either.
Do you have any family Memorial Day traditions?
Picnics, cookouts, picnics, parades, right?
When I lived in Michigan, I was in the Marine Corps back then. We used to go out to Fort Custer National Cemetery and do the services out there. We were the honor guard out there.
Great. So what did you do as the honor guard? What sort of things?
We would, during the ceremonies, our troop would go up there and hold the flags and stuff like that during the ceremony, and then retire the flags after it was done.
Army-Navy Union of the USA. He served as a truck driver in France from February 1918 to June 1919, representing the Ladies Auxiliary, veterans of World War I of the United States of America.
We will never forget our veterans, those that are alive and those that passed on. We will continue to ask, Lord, that you can strive with them, that you will bless our veterans, our families, and bless our leaders of this great nation. And help us that we may always remain diligent in our preparations for war while striving and praying for peace. Grant us unity, Lord, we pray. Now I ask that you bless us and keep us, that you cause your face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us, that you turn your head towards us and grant us your peace. Be with us now as we leave this place. In your name I pray. Amen.
We have one more wreath that we'd like to go ahead and lay since these young Marines are ready to do so. Thank you. As you know, we began the remembrance of the beginning and end of World War I, starting in 2014 as we observe the centennial. We will continue to make special efforts to increase participation in this special memorial service, and we ask that you plan to join us at 1500 hours on 11 November 2017. This concludes this memorial service for General of the Armies, John J. Pershing. On behalf of the Military Order of the World Wars, we thank you for your attendance, and we cordially invite you to join us next year's ceremony. Please be careful departing the cemetery, and we wish you safe travels as you return home. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think too, did we used to go to your dad's grave? He was a World War II vet, and go to the gravesite and put flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually started as a Civil War, commemorating the Civil War, and the North used it, and then the South had a different holiday, and then they came together after World War I. Then they came together to honor all folks who died in wars.
There's more than just books at the library.
There's more than just books at the library.
Excuse me.
There's more than just books at the library.
Il y a plus que de livres à la bibliothèque.
Hello. You have a lot of great books here today. You know there's more than just books at the library.
I know.
There's more than just books at the library.
I don't want to be hooked to a machine.
I want all the medical treatment available to me.
I wouldn't want my family to have to make this decision.
My doctor knows what's best for me.
An advance directive is your life on your terms. Talk with your family. Decide what's right for you. Then put it in writing.
Documenting my wishes today means my family won't have to make heart-wrenching decisions later.
To learn more, visit www.putitinwriting.org.
1,200 American youth run away from their homes every day. The National Runaway Switchboard is here to help. 1-800-RUNAWAY. If you are a runaway, thinking about running away from home, or a parent or guardian concerned about issues facing your child, call us 24 hours a day. 1-800-RUNAWAY. In times of crisis, hope is just a phone call away. 1-800.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Every Memorial Day in Washington, D.C., on the Mall, the Memorial Day Writers Project meets to share poems, short stories, and other fiction written by veterans. So let's go to D.C. and check out the Memorial Day Writers Project.
Put his hand over the hole and looked into his eyes, inanimate. Don't worry, you'll be all right, you'll make it. Then he yelled, "Medic!" He looked up at a shadow and saw Stewart, Chaplain Stewart, kneeling down, his eyes crystals of ice. "My God, O'Shaughnessy," Stewart said. "He'll be all right," Wolford assured him, his hands soaked with blood. "He's dead. He's all right. They killed him," he said, and he lurched to the side and began vomiting. Small arms fire erupted from Wolford's sector. Wolford shook his head. "No, not O'Shaughnessy." He looked again at the pale head and unfocused eyes and felt the warm liquid slipping through his fingers. He sat up, pulled the guilty hands away and looked at them with a shudder, held them up to see them better and began to wail. The medic arrived, closed the sergeant's eyes and told Sims, "Better get him out of here." The medevac came. Blurred figures rolled the body onto a stretcher, and then he was gone. Record sat down by Wolford, put his arm around him, and said, "It's all right. Come on, let's get you cleaned up." He poured water from his canteen into a steel pot and kneaded Wolford's hands with a washcloth. "It's all right." The supply bird came in, disrupting the grief with a rush of activity. As mermites were unloaded and the chow line set up, Brecker continued to kneel by Wilford, and a small group clustered around Stewart. The chaplain had spoken his last word. They asked him if he was all right, if he wanted to get up, if he wanted to eat, if he wanted anything to drink, if he wanted to go back on the supply chopper, if he needed anything. He only sat and stared. They told him it was time to go now, so please get up. He had to hurry. Are you all right, Chaplain? 2 men tried to help him up. 4 men carried him and strapped him in. Then he vanished like the others.
I was grunt with the 25th Infantry Division in 1969, and I'm going to read you 4 true stories. This first one's called Life's Story. It was only a place to be born, one as good as another. 18 years of goofing off earned the rank of citizen. A letter from the elders, services must be rendered. It was only a camp in the woods, a little like being in Boy Scouts. A really bad haircut, too much off the top. A free suit of clothes, one color, one size fits all. It was only a walk through the wire with backpack and bandolier. A sunny day in the country. Tropical plants closed their eyes. Sunburn out of water, a couple of blisters bleeding. It was only a bit of straw left behind in the field. A momentary lapse of attention, daydreaming words to a song. A single step forward, never heard the concussion. It was only a place to leave behind, one as good as another.
In Prince William County last year, veterans met to share their poems and literary achievements. So let's take a ride over to Prince William County and listen to some veterans share their experiences there.
For now, though, the dog takes the meat, Garner smiles, and the desert moon inches across a cerulean sky. Once the ground war actually began, Iraqi soldiers who had been conscripted into service surrendered by the tens of thousands, and we collected many of those POWs. When their leaders tried to stop them, they sometimes lined those leaders up and shot them in the back. Things they left behind. We rehearsed invading bunkers over dimpled plains of sand and rocks too small to offer cover. Support teams shifted fire as comrades cut wire on knees, praying for blessings of smoke grenades. We were ready for anything but this. Patches, guns, discarded uniforms. Each bunker as welcoming as a child's tented bed. Sleeping rolls, food tins, patterned rugs. Ours for the taking. So slight the demarcation between warrior and pillager. Face down inside a bomb crater lay 3 officers' bodies. Bullet holes between their shoulder blades, a gift left behind by deserting troops. Opened wide on each chest was a cavern where a beating heart should be. Scattered at their feet were pamphlets explaining how to don and clear a gas mask, as if that might protect them. One newspaper with Arabic headlines showed a grinning caricature of George Bush, but I never deciphered what it meant. So both of those poems that I read inform you, the reader, the listener, of my personal experiences and of the war in general. So in addition to the catharsis one may experience in writing poetry, You can educate through poems and stories and essays as well. You can also use your experience to deliver a message, which I try to do in this next poem. It is a sad fact that while veterans often look back on conflict with remorse and gratitude for having survived, youths often look forward to war as some thrill they wish to chase. Get some. They chant it, these zombies clutching joysticks, mesmerized by screens of pulsing light, splashes of color. Get some, get some. Cave dwellers wearing headsets. Avatars run, point, shoot at friends whose faces they've never seen. Get some, get some. Sunshine is no lure, no excitement in swatches of green grass, no wonder in the sky. They want to know what it's like to watch a head explode. Can't wait till they're 18, worried they'll miss their chance to get some. I want to roll a boulder into their river and change its course. I want to press weight of history upon them, but their minds are already flat. They howl at videos of skateboarders face planting, grinding tracts of skin on pavement. Whoa, dude, he got him some. These boys wear innocence like a dirty diaper. If only I could shield their eyes before jigsaw of someone they once knew burns into retinas, before nostrils fill with charred flesh, eardrums reverberate with yowls for help, cries for mama. I want to pound the pain of yesterday so deep into their chests that they'll be careful tomorrow. If they knew how soft a body really was, would that lessen their love of steel? Would they caress their arms and legs to savor memory? Or would they still want to get some? Imagine, I want to say, a nail piercing your foot slowly, rusted barbs ripping raw edges of flesh. Multiply that by 100, by 1,000. But these kids are not good at math. They will live forever. They will get some, taste it for themselves, taste it, smell it, chew it, swallow it, become what they've dreamed of since weaning off cartoons. Get some, get some, get some. The mantra spews, and only one thing will salve this slash of longing. One cure, one blade that promises exactly what they want. The guillotine beckons, and up the steps they climb, chanting with each footfall, get some, get some. To look inside its basket, they must expose tender necks. Even this won't stop them. Nothing will. Not until they get some, until they get some. I've always believed whenever possible you should end a reading with an uplifting note, so here, the last poem I will read is one of the lighter ones from the collection. It's called Love and War and Baking. Perhaps she thought I would die, this former lover, my Georgia peach. Perfume-scented letters promised sex, love, and cookies, but mostly sex. How could I not come back alive? In heat of day, when we were supposed to sleep but couldn't, I'd pull her glossy bikinied form from my notebook, sultry smile and side-cast eyes, sending me to valleys hot with moisture. Reality never lives up to dreams' potential. There were cookies, yes, but that was all. Long ago in Fort Benning's forests, our not quite love died, gleaming skin peeling away to reveal no seeds within. But the world is large, every turn a road leading somewhere else. And, of course, there were cookies. Thank you.
The poem is about a work of healing that was done by a lady surgeon, American surgeon named Pat McKay, whom you'll see in some of these pictures, with those women and children. And that poem is called "You Gave the Iraqis Their Scarves." When limbs are lost, who stops to think of clothing thrown away? Who knows the shame of sheltered girls on sudden public display? And so within the non-combatants' ward, they neither prayed nor shrank from pork, but showed their skin with vacant-eyed sang-froid, knowing that since the world had burned alive, it didn't matter. You came out of the OR night after night and wrote your orders just as the men would do, but then, instead of clumping off to bed or getting drunk on bootleg DVDs, you'd find a place no one could observe. Bring out an ancient Singer sewing machine and squares of silk left over from a quilt the nurses made to celebrate our work. And there each night, like the breath of a word, you'd sew, quietly sew, as the ocean weaves a reef together after a storm, binding polyps and tiny fish, bringing grass back together with stone, with overflowing largesse of patience. The day you brought the scarves down, they pressed your hands. And those not maimed tied scarves around the heads of friends who couldn't move. Silk to die for. New to those dust-colored homes only the F-18s had deemed worth bombing. Those who thought they could no longer weep wept to feel the touch of simple cloth. And they were once again sacred women. I'll give you another real quick one. Another work of healing done with the Iraqis was on the prisoner of war ward. A lot of weird things happened with those wounded Iraqi prisoners of war, and we had a great nurse there, Cassandra Spears, who was just unflappable and did all kinds of stuff to heal them. This is a short one. It's called War Nursing. Another bizarre moment. You leading the shattered Iraqi man around the prison ward in shambling dance, with a transported smile on your sweet bronze face, lip syncing your favorite boombox music, the Bee Gees' Staying Alive. My last poem is about a soldier with PTSD. It's called Rock Creek PTSD. It's called Rock Creek because the old Walter Reed Army Hospital, predecessor of the new one, was near Rock Creek Park in DC, so the soldiers would go there for respite, but sometimes they had painful visions. So Rock Creek PTSD. Rock Creek tumbles as daylight ends, its water pours over straits and bends, flinging its way through spouts and flumes as human fortune collides with doom, tumult issued in roaring sounds, clears the mist as the rush tilts down to freezing deeps, and pernicious bogs bleakly featured with fallen logs. You soothed my suffering mind before, and how I wish you were not transformed, turned so fatal in each detail, your clean, bright energy leached and paled. I shun like fever's ferocity such haunted boulders and frightened trees. All over the creaking expanse of foam, quick jets like blood, flying chips like bone. You chimed your wish in Fallujah's ear, and twilight echoed as it does here. How many heroes in those harsh days fell into your flood and were borne away. Rock Creek, measure of all my fears, I curse your crying with my own tears. Fury sweeping across this ground, return my brothers, whom you have drowned.
So I see here that you have a table set up that allows guests and patrons to pick up brochures on how to prevent suicide.
Absolutely, absolutely. So last year I was engaged by Fairfax County Fire and Rescue, Lee Boswell, a 26-year retired veteran of Fairfax County Fire and Rescue. Lee headed up our Out of Darkness Walk, part of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. She and the fire department and certain restaurants, the 29 Diner, JV's restaurant in Falls Church, and numerous other locations rallied in support of folks that have been affected by suicide. So these walks are meant to bring people together, rally the community that has been affected by suicide, and do what we can to draw awareness to at-risk demographics and geographics of our society that need to, respectfully be shown signs and behavior within their community that they can see people that might be in need. And so our suicide prevention talks with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention have been an amazing blessing. They have brought the 29 Diner and our campaign great publicity. We're blessed by that. So our goal is to reach people who are at risk or people that need to talk, people that are in need of an outlet to discuss their personal issues that they're dealing with, and it's something that affects our society that has an unfortunate stigmatism attached to it. We should be able to openly talk about suicide and the effects of suicide, just like we talk about cancer and the awareness of cancer and other drunk driving and things that can really affect people's lives, that we can do what we can to help support and change mentalities. So our Stop Suicide Prevention with American Foundation has been a great one. So we have our walk that's coming up in September of this year. So that's our 10th annual Fairfax, Virginia Out of the Darkness Walk. That's at the Fairfax Government Center. That is September 16th. So you can go online and register your teams at afsp.org/Fairfax. So that's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, afsp.org/Fairfax. And register your team, and we'd be honored to have you part of our walk.
Please know a little bit about Vietnam. Were you a veteran?
I'm a veteran. I didn't get to go. I asked to go twice, was turned down both times. I was told I was the only operator for that piece of equipment in our battalion headquarters. I was a trainer for the missile outfits. We trained the pilots and that for Vietnam and stuff. So, but sometimes I feel like I let those guys down because I didn't get to go. So, and I was told to kiss the ground because so. But,
and you trained them well though, so maybe maybe you saved some lives that way.
Well, yes, we did. So, and one of the things I carry with me all the time is is I carry this button. It has all the services on it, but this here, because still there's some brothers and sisters over there, not only in Vietnam, but in World War II and Korea is still there. So these are the things I carry all the time. So, and I got one from my stepson, who's still in, and I got one from my daughter-in-law because she's a veteran also.
We're gearing up for Memorial Day.
Memorial.
Yeah. Are you a veteran or?
No, my father was killed when I was 3 years old.
Oh.
And we were here when that happened. He was a pilot for the Navy and was killed in a routine flight. So, yes, I'm from a military family, but no, I didn't serve. My brother served in Vietnam, but I didn't serve. My mother worked for the government, even my sister works for the government, and she works for government contracts. Her company does now on the West Coast. But yeah, we're pretty much a government family. I'm the only one that went to the private sector. I just didn't feel right. Something wasn't right. I'm the last man standing now, except for my sister, who's doing great. I mean.
And what were the wars that were fought in the Fairfax area?
Oh my God! You want me to tell you the story about the cannon in front of the courthouse that belonged to Colonel John Mosby?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good story there. That was they captured that after he blew up a Yankee train. Just so happened the Yankee train was full of Yankee cavalry, which started chasing him down the road, and they're firing the cannon with the men on the cannon, firing the cannon, mowing down the Yankees, and they finally caught up with them, captured the men on the cannon, captured the cannon, and they towed that cannon to Fairfax County Courthouse, and there it has remained since they brought it back.
So they chased him down the street right here then?
No, that was out in the country there. That was in between here and Warrenton. Because Warrenton, that was seesawed back and forth. Warrenton changed hands like 72 times, I think, during the war. The only town that changed hands more than Warrenton was Winchester. And yeah.
Yeah, and then you're saying that then they finally brought him to the Fairfax County Courthouse.
The cannon, yeah. Yeah, they caught him on the run. Yeah, Mosby got away naturally, but some of his men and his big sergeant, his big, huge, red-headed Irish sergeant who had deserted from the Union Army, got captured.
And what was the big story about Jeb Stuart?
Jeb Stuart? Well, he was just the eyes and ears of Lee. He was the cavalry for Lee, and he was eyes and ears. And Jeb Stuart's right-hand man was Mosby, because Mosby would tramp out and under disguise and scout ahead. That was the thing, because Mosby was an irregular. He didn't have to wear a uniform. He was signed up as a colonel, but he didn't wear a uniform most of the time. So to disguise him, that's how he walked right in the Yankee camp here in Fairfax and walked away with about 50 horses and wagon loads of guns and ammunition and shot and powder. They just walked right in with their gray coats. They couldn't tell their gray coats from blue in the weather. So he did things like that. He also captured the general, the highest ranking general in the Union Army ever to be captured in war. He was the general of the Potomac armies. I forget his name, but Mosby captured him right in bed in Fairfax and took him to Richmond.
Now, being literally at the crossroads of the war, how important do you think it is to learn about both sides of the war?
Well, it's part of heritage. I know my family fought at Manassas. I don't know which side, because we were both on both. There was one brother against another, and I don't know which battle. But I know that one of those men fought in one of those battles. So, to me, it's part of my heritage. And even though we're from Eastern Shore, Maryland, we still fought on this ground here. And and my family's been around for quite a long time. So that's another story there I could get into.
Now, I know the school board is considering changing the name of Jeb Stuart High School because of the Confederate background, but what do you think about that?
No, I'm totally against that. My last name is Smith. I can trace my lineage all the way back to Captain John Smith in 1607. He had a brother that had a big family, and I'm part of that. I'm descended from his brother's family. See, Captain John never had children, but his brother did, and I'm descended from that. So being something that's a part of history, why do you want to destroy history? You want to keep the history and learn from it. You can't destroy something like that and say these people were bad. Well, they were going through a certain time in America, and people's minds changed after a while, and the reasons they fought were not the reasons you thought they fought for. Most people were fighting because they wanted the government to do something about the situation, to help the farmers, and the middle class farmers that had people working for them. They wanted compensation so that they could go on and help those people be, better people as well. And the government just decided, they didn't decide, the Southerners in South Carolina, or what was it, the Fort Sumter decided we're going to have a war. So we got thrown into a war that we didn't want. And that's pretty much the way most people in the South felt. They got thrown into a war they didn't want, didn't need, and didn't expect. And when it happened, it wasn't a good thing.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Don't think you know. Know you know.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Now that was fun. As you may know, it is Fairfax County's 275th anniversary, beginning June 17th. And we will be celebrating all year. The kids from the American History Film Project compiled a special birthday greeting to kick off its June 3rd Film Festival at the Angelica Theater in Fairfax. Let's look at it.
Trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His
the battlefield.
2,000 women from the North and South who were nurses in the Civil War, the angels of the battlefield. Clara Barton gave the Red Cross its start in the angels of the battlefield.
Do you think John Mosby hidden here?
Probably not. He probably hid outside in some of the bushes.
It has been claimed by some that the actives of the Punishment Rangers bands in Northern and Western Virginia, especially those of John S. Mosby, may have prevented the Union victory in the summer or fall of 1864.
And there was a baseball diamond there too.
Let's go trekking!
Oh, life could be a dream if I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hoping we'll meet.
Can you describe what it was like entering into high school that first day?
I just was going to meet everybody in the whole school, but I never saw so many students all in one place. They said, well, how did you feel about moving out here? I said, there were trees to climb. There were creeks to play in. There were crayfish to catch. You know? And it was exciting to me. That was really exciting to me.
But I mean, for businesses and stuff that come out here.
Well, we had the Annandale Grill. We had Roadside Market. We didn't even have a Safeway, a Giant Food, nothing, you know.
We are very excited to have a large history celebration to commemorate the founding of Fairfax County 275 years ago. And to make it even more special, we're having it on the grounds of the historic Fairfax Courthouse. And the courthouse is what you can see behind me, is where the county's courthouse in 1800 began, and it is still the grounds of our courthouse today. The event begins at 10 o'clock and will run through 4 o'clock on June 17th, and it is going to feature a host of family-friendly and history-themed events. We have an entire children's area dedicated to teaching kids about history and what it was like to go to school in Fairfax County many years ago. In that area, we will also have children's games and hands-on crafts that they can participate in. We're lucky enough to have such great museums here in Fairfax County that we have Gunston Hall, Sully Plantation, Colvin Run Mill, as well as Mount Vernon, all having large tables to showcase their history and have activities for families as well. We have 4 performance areas that day, and one of the performance areas will actually be inside the historic courthouse. And you'll actually have an opportunity to listen to Lady Washington talk about her life and what it's like here in rural Fairfax County. You'll also be able to visit with George Mason and his brother. And as a highlight to the whole day, the actual Lord Fairfax, the current Lord Fairfax, the 14th Lord Fairfax of Cameron, will be here, and he will actually speak twice. And so you can listen to him in the historic courthouse talk about what it's like to be Lord Fairfax and the politics of Great Britain today. We tried to make this as simple as possible. Fairfax 275 should be your gateway to as many things as possible. All right, so we're going to start from the top with what June 17th is going to look like from your perspective. So we will systematically go through this, and then we'll take questions at the end. So I'm going to turn this over to Carmela, and at this point, this is really her baby. This is, for those of you who know me, this was a lot to actually turn this over. I'm so happy to have Carmela in my life. Everybody needs a Carmela in my life.
And I'm thrilled to be in her land at history. I'm learning the lingo. So I am Carmela Moon with Fairfax County Sheriff's Office. I am a full-time deputy on loan from the Sheriff's Office to assist with planning the event. And the reason why I was selected is because I was on the ceremony, the manager of ceremonies and special events during the Fairfax 2015 World Police and Fire Games. So all that fun and excitement that happened, I got to assist with planning that. And since I knew what was going on, they were like, oh, well, it's on our complex, you can go help Gretchen. So then here I am. It's like magic how that happens. So I'm thrilled to get to work with all of you. We're going to do our best to accommodate everyone's needs and requirements throughout the day, but we're going to start with kind of the basics, work through, and then at the end, if there are any questions, please save them to the end because we might answer them along the way. Okay, so the event is Saturday, June 17th. Please make sure you have that on your calendar. It's kind of an important day. We need you there. So the actual event time is 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. So those are the times that we're going to have people there. Well, you know they're going to show up early and they'll probably stay a little late, but 10 to 4 are the goals. And the location is 4110 Cambridge Road. That is actually the Fairfax County Courthouse address. We are taking up the complex.
We're having some of the things in the children's area. Mary can list this off better than I can. So we have Senora Bella coming. I'm sure many of you have seen her at 18th century events. She's the 18th century acrobat. We also have a silhouette artist, plus the anchor museums from Fairfax County, Mount Vernon, Gunston Hall will be rounding out the children's area, and a lot of hand-on activities there. So I think there'll be quite a bit for people to see.
Miller's 18th century games.
Yep.
And the schoolhouse will be open.
Yeah. Lots to do. and that's why we'll try to send you as much information so that you too can pass people along. But the idea, especially for those of you having the history booths, is to really talk about your organization and the great things that you're doing. So please bring collateral so that people can take it home and follow up with you. This is a great opportunity to recruit volunteers for your site. That was really the motivation behind this event, was trying to draw more visibility to history in Fairfax County and all the various history organizations. So this event will represent one of the few times that all of the history organizations associated with Fairfax County have gotten together for a single event.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.